Hello, everyone, and hope you're having a good week. I'm Isa, and I'll be your host for today. And hope everyone is doing great and also staying safe at home or in the office, wherever you're watching this from. So, thank you to those who are here early. Do say hello or good afternoon in the live chat if you are here. We have exciting webinars planned for the year. So, if you would like to be in the loop and receive additional materials and promotions from the webinar, don't forget to check in via the QR code or also the link in the description box and live chat. Okay, so a quick introduction to DGX before we begin. DGX is DG's venture builder arm. Our focus is to help Malaysian companies of all sizes solve problems by digitalizing their operations through our digital solutions AltHR, Omni Hotline, and iFleet. So today's webinar is run together with Internspoon, and Internspoon is a social online internship platform that helps matches students to employers, bringing early access of young talents to you. So today we have a very special guest, and it is the CEO of Internspoon, Chu Yinzi. Hi, and welcome, Yinzi.
Hi. Thanks,
Okay.
Isa, for having us, and also DGX for inviting us for this event.
All right, we are so happy to have you join us. We are here today to talk about the common misconceptions surrounding internships and discuss the what, how, and why of these misconceptions. Along the way, we will also share some tips, answer questions from the audience. So please feel free to leave your questions in the live chat as well. Okay, so in general, we often see discussions about hiring young talent for full-time roles, but not so many conversations about internships, which is why there are so many misconceptions and questions about internships in Malaysia in general, right? So I'll go ahead and start with the first misconception, and let's hear your take on it. Okay, Yinzi?
All right,
Okay.
cool.
All right, so the first misconception is employers only wanting to hire final semester for internships, and their reason is to convert them. What's your take on this? And based on your experience with handling both employers and interns, is there a gap in this misconception?
Yep, definitely. There is a very huge gap. So a lot of for new employers or even for employees who are new into the industry who's looking for interns, one thing that they will perceive or have the perception that students who are going out for internship are always final semester students, which I can tell you that's not the case. A lot of university, so it really depends on the course and the university itself. So it does not always fall on final semester. I would say 20% around there or less. So someone with this pandemic coming aboard, it does change a lot of these semesters arrangement. So yeah, if you talk about final semester, really very rare. But come to think of it, we understand that employers, coming from employers' perspective, we understand that it is because you guys want to seed talents and hoping to convert them. But the reality is, how many can we actually convert them, right? So and a lot of them will be thinking like, I want to join this, then after that I can convert. That is where internship comes in. I can join you in year 2, and I really like what you guys are doing, and I really have the passion that I want to help you guys out. Yeah, so if all stars align, the employers are, a lot of employers that what we are seeing right now have given them a conditional offer. So meaning to say, whenever they completed their studies, they can come back with that conditional offer, skip through all the interviews, just go for final interview, and that's about it. That offer letter is on the table. So it's, I would say, start early. It's also because you want to see what is in the market. If you take final year students, chances are a lot of times you will handle a lot of turnover. Final semester turnover is very high. So final year will be okay because some of them have like maybe 1 or 2 semesters to go back. But that is fine. It's only 3 to 6 months in between. So it's not too far away. So yeah, I would say not stop yourself at final semester lah.
To also broaden the scope and also hire people who
Correct.
are in probably their second year or third year, and they don't have to be very rigid also to hire only last semester students, because there might be potential to hire you, but then once we give that hope to interns also and we don't, then what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. That's a very great take on it. So if you guys have any opinions or thoughts also in the live chat, do feel free to share them. We would love to read them as well. So okay, moving on to the second misconception. So employers tend to set unrealistic expectations for interns to have the same knowledge and skills as a fresh graduate. So I've heard stories of interns going for interviews, and the expectations that the managers or the interviews lay down on the table for them during the interview itself seem really unrealistic. What's your take on this misconception and your experience with it?
Well, I would say interns and fresh grads are not very far off. So I would say usually when it comes to internship, employers will not put that high expectation. But when it comes to full time, right, sometimes what they are looking at is requires more experience and skills. So taking one scenario, for example, currently what everything is online, everything is digitalized. A lot we have seen a spike in asking for content creators, content marketing, digital marketing candidates. One thing that they always put into the criteria is I need these students to have SEO search skill sets. However, in university, it doesn't. It's not. It is still a very new thing to the university. So not all university have kind of taught it, teach all this SEO search or analytics. Like where do they need to look for? So it takes a lot of initiative on taking online courses to build up that part. So things like let's say multimedia design or design graphic design, sometimes what you want is people who have that skills to use. So for example multimedia design and graphic design, you need people who knows let's say AI or Premiere Pro, but it doesn't stop you from hiring candidates that is from other course that has these skill sets, because
Mhm.
sometimes they will come up with a different kind of perspective that brings a new perspective to your design or creativity or different angle towards what you are doing.
Mm. Okay, very clear. Yeah, so I think that moves on to like the third misconception, right? That interns can only be hired if their courses are directly related to the internship role. So, for example, if a person wanted to interview wanted an marketing internship, they would have to have a bachelor's in business, majoring marketing, or a bachelor's in marketing in general. So, should employers then, like broaden their scope? Why or why not? Especially when it comes to like probably a bit more technical roles.
Okay,
Mm.
so that's a very good question. So uh, for ourselves, like I always ask my client this simple question: are you looking for talents or you are looking for people? So if you're looking for talents, right, it is more about the attitude and the skill sets. No matter how good this person is in studies, but their attitude it's not there, and it's very hard to coach. It's very hard for an employer to actually take you in. If that skill sets is not relevant, definitely they will not take you in. However, if it's someone coachable, but you can kind of have certain basic to it, employers do take in and then train you from there.
Mm.
So I would say that don't limit yourself into one position. Of course, we understand the university side. Um, right now, they are a little bit more flexible, meaning to say, like, besides the course that you're studying. So, for example, like you are doing, let's say you're doing accounting. Uh, it doesn't mean that you are stuck between accounts, finance, and audit, but you're also open to industry that is related to, like, for example, um, management company or the business service partnership, or even fintech company that is looking more towards the accounting side, or um, payment gateway. Those companies, they do take accountants as well. So it doesn't mean that what you are studying is going to waste. Sometimes when it comes to fintech company or even companies that is in the industry that they are looking for marketing person, your skill sets will come in because you have that basic knowledge for you to share to the customer. The only thing that maybe you have, for example, it doesn't. I have student who is who's accounting students, but she's very creative. So so she went into a company that allows her to practice her creativity, which is on the marketing sense, giving knowledge transfer via social media about accounting policies, accounts, everything about accounting that she knows. So in that way, you are practicing both ends. It doesn't stop you from, you know, say like, oh, you only can do accounts and stuff. Sometimes it's just not there.
Yep.
We also get students who's in the psychology side who's very good in certain areas, especially on business development side and marketing, and then which comes to a different perspective. So I would say skill set is more important, regardless of what you are studying. That is your basic, but I think one thing is the students have to find a way on how to implement what they have studied.
Okay, so kind of relating it back to, even though the role is completely different, relating it back to what they have studied in the university, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So I can also give another example. So one of my previous intern who's doing management, business management major in marketing. So we put her under marketing and operations. At that point of time, she took up this subject. This course is because her parents are in the business field. She really have that how to say a creativity sense. She have a very good creativity sense um, in uh, in drawings and everything. So what I told her is, since you have that, don't put it to waste. Since Intern Spoons is a platform for you to use to expand it. So I just say like, hey, why not you just manage the social media side? And she realized that, oh, actually, when I study business, right, it doesn't mean just business, but I can also practice my creativity sense in getting more people to come in, knowing, promoting the products and stuff. So it doesn't really stop there, lah.
Okay, so since you also have visibility on like speaking to the career services of like universities and also the interns itself, right? Would they usually have a, you know, a list or like an assessment that, you know, they have to have a checklist of items that they have to do during the internship? Only then they will be able to, you know, pass the internship, or is it more flexible nowadays?
I think now it's more flexible. It's not like a checklist thing that they need to do this and that, but it's more like what they are learning in the industry. Is it relatable to their course lah?
Okay. So should then, you know, students and even anybody who is looking for an internship, they should be encouraged to apply for internships that don't really have necessarily have a relation to their actual course, but they have to find their ways to relate to it.
Correct.
Okay, all right. So moving on, I think I would like to ask a question that is, you know, slightly controversial and debatable. So, in
Okay.
your opinion, should internships be paid or unpaid? And is that a standard amount that companies could follow as a rough guideline, especially for our friends from the SMEs who are joining us today, or anybody who's looking to develop an internship program? What is like the practice that you see based on like your clients and also the companies that you've spoken to when it comes to internships?
All right. So I would say that it is. I would say it's okay. So university side, they have a rule that says that it has to be a paid internship. So my simple rule of thumb is, if it's not, we still need to give them a certain appreciation lah, right? Because they are coming to, yes, they are coming to learn from us, but at the same time, they're also helping you to execute something. So there is a quote that says, you know, free. There's no such thing as free things, or free things. When free things come, it has something behind. So when it comes to free things, sometimes students would think that, you know, since it's free, I don't need to put up so much effort, you know. But if it's like certain token of appreciation, not a lot, like let's say roughly for business student is around for KL range is about 600 to 1,000 depending on the company. We don't control how much the company give, but we will give a rough range and then let the company to decide. So it's between about 600 to 1,000 depending on the company's appetite lah, right? So this is something that we help to provide as a guideline. Definitely, I would say if it's a paid internship, definitely they will appreciate a little bit more. However, there is also a small percentage of students who come and say like, I am okay without pay, but it's also something that we also scared of because sometimes like they can say, since you're not paying me, that means I can quit anytime, those kind of things. So we do get cases like that, so we are a bit more cautious. So anyhow, for companies on our platform, it's a must that you need to pay your interns. The fee is coming from you, so yeah, I would say need to pay.
Okay. So what about, like outside of your clientele, and then a company would say, the knowledge I'm giving them is already payment. I'm already, training them to be an intern and passing down my knowledge. Why should I still pay them? Like what would your response be to that?
Well, that's a very hard question. So there will be, so far I have not encountered that, but I do see where you're coming from. Yes, there is companies who say that I don't need to pay them, those kind of things. That fallbacks to the same thing lor.
Yep.
If the candidates are okay without paying and they can continue contribute and work for you, but somehow like for some employers or bosses, they are a little bit more sympathy. I cannot go through the guilt lah, because they are also investing their time to actually help you to execute the thing. However, yes, it definitely take a little bit more time and effort to coach them, but definitely I would say nothing come cheap, or cheap things doesn't come good. Yeah, so I would say that do give them a little bit of appreciation. At least they know that they can continue strive for you. It's just the sweets that you need to give them lah.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, whatever work that they contribute or come up with during the internship itself, it will also benefit the company. It's not like they're doing work that is not going to help the company. So I guess giving a token of appreciation or even a small allowance, even if it doesn't reach the 600 ringgit to 1,000 mark, is also a good place to start. Especially for like the smaller companies, maybe 600 is way out of budget to pay for an intern, but we can start small. I think there's no harm starting out with like maybe 200, 300 first, and then slowly building up that amount as the time goes by, right? Yeah. Okay, so like in the live chat and in the comments, what do you think about paid or unpaid internships? Let us know. And if you were doing your internships previously in when you were younger, let us know also, like how much were you paid? Were you even paid? That would be a very interesting topic to also share with the viewers today. All right, so moving on, the pandemic has affected the way companies operate, and more full-time employees are working from home than remotely than like ever before. We've never done this before, right? So what is your take on remote internships? Is this possible, and are many companies doing this? Because just speaking from personal experience, I have a brother who was in his final year when the MCO started, and he had trouble finding internships because a lot of companies didn't want to hire remote interns, especially in courses like mass comm, where your bulk of your industry is kind of like events and all of these concerts and stuff like that. So what are some common factors that prevent employers from offering internships during the pandemic? And how can we overcome this?
All right, that's a good question. So let me split it up into two. So certain industries, like I would say it really depends on the industry that you are in. So for example, if you are in the tech industry, if you are in the e-commerce industry, you are very much on virtual and online. So remote internship does help open up more opportunities for students who are unable from different states, who are thinking, I want to come and join, let's say out HR, I want to come and join DGX, just that, I cannot afford the accommodation. 3 months coming in, then after that I have to leave. So remote internship does open opportunities for candidates that company have not been able to explore because due to location wise. However, if you're talking about the more technical role, hard skill role, like lab,
Yep.
research assistants. If you're in the essential services, you need to get to the, you need to get to certain places. I understand because of pandemic is very high risk, but this is where you learn. And the other things that I always hear is engineering students are facing very high difficulties in looking for internship, mainly because parents are worried. We understand, we get it, but you can't expect the company to send the machinery to your house to do a virtual internship, right? So it really very much depends on the position and the position that they are applying for and the industry. So we have heard of stories where people who are in the sales and marketing, yes, you can do it virtually online, However, but if you are in the medical industry, you still need to go to the hospital and everything. That job is there. If you don't want to take it, other people will take it, but you have to survive as well. So it's just a lesson that to learn how do we balance out. I definitely it's not I would say it's not a right or wrong decision to say. No one is going to blame you. However, the thing is, let's put it this way. With this pandemic, money is really important to everyone. If you choose to not do this internship, like you prefer to do project-based internship, like because some university are offering that in to overcome the students who are unable to find internship.
Yep.
And then for your free time, you rather work as a Grab delivery person or delivery person, right? That expose more high risk, right? Rather than coming to the office to work at that space, because that you requires you to travel more places. So some food of thought. I would say that the opportunity is there. It's how do you pivot from there? How do you find the balance in between?
Okay. Okay. Very clear. Yeah. So I think when the finding the right balance, and also interns will also have to think about the sacrifices that they're making when they're applying for internships. Like, do you want the internship or not? If you don't
Yeah.
want, somebody else will come and take it. But if they are universities more open for if these technical internships are not available, do they allow their students to apply for business internships, and has that been working?
So far, we also have the university are a little bit more open right now. So, like, let's say we have seen certain engineering students who are a little bit more conversational wise. They
Yep.
can speak to people, because a lot of times, right, what we have seen is when you are an engineering students, you are very quiet, you are very introvert. And one thing that we face, but that we always hear from the industry is like their marketing team, right? Always very hard to train people, and salespeople very hard to train people because these technical jargons are too alien to them, I guess.
Yep.
So it takes time to train. So it is still not wrong to as an engineering student work in an engineering firm, but in a business department or in an operations department. It's still relatable because you are learning something from the department and the company in the same industry. So if you were saying, like, this engineering student must only get into engineering, technical internship, then I would say this is 21st century. You need to start opening up a little bit more opportunities and mindset out, or else it will be phased out. And a lot of companies are now moving to digitalize. Then that is where they can come in to help you digitalize things. We have seen like very good engineering students who are very good in content creation. Then maybe they can help you to build your brand awareness, your company's brand awareness, your company's culture, that brings your company to a next level and next perspective lah.
Okay. So, all right. So, moving on to, in the theme of like remote internships as well. So, for interviewing, when it comes to employers interviewing their candidates, what are like the current trends that are happening right now? Do you see them doing like more assessments and only one round of interview, or is there more rounds of interviews because it's virtual? Or what is your experience? Yeah.
I have seen very interesting candidates and I have seen very interesting candidates who go all and above. So I have one candidate who emailed me because I missed out that email when they deposit their resume. So they would just come in as usual resumes that you receive email. I did not reply, but the next follow up email was very interesting. The subject title was "Have you given up yet?" That was like, wow, this student is trying to get my attention. Not bad. Okay, let's see what we have for this student, right? So I appreciate these kind of students who go above and beyond, and I believe a lot of employers who like this kind of candidate. This shows that they have put in efforts, and they definitely are the ones who will help you strive in the company. So yeah, we did offer him a position after that, because I think this is where we don't see a lot of people doing, but this first step is actually what giving him a step ahead to be ahead of his peers, and this is a talent that we want to see. I also have candidates who just say, "Misa, I think I don't want to send you resume. I send you my TikTok video." I was like, huh? Oh, okay, can. So it was a 30-second a brief mention about himself. And it was really interesting. I would say that is where we see the creativity. And then it's thinking out the box to get, engagement. And then we also have seen some good ones who send, like, I give you a PowerPoint slide, a video slide. So in that sense, you see the creativity and skill sets of them, of what they have done. Definitely this pandemic makes it more interesting. However, we also get, like, sad to say, we also still get, emails from parents who are desperate for their kid, but their kid are not desperate enough, those kind of things. So who ask for internship placement position, that in your prestigious company, the parents wrote in the email in. So yeah, we have seen very interesting ones, and we have seen good and bad ones. Let's talk about the good ones and pass on for the not so good ones lah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was very interesting how you shared about, the TikTok being your virtual resume now instead of like an actual resume. I think the TikTok is really taking over the world. So anybody out there who wants to spice it up a bit for your resumes can try TikTok now that Yinzi says it works. And use all those fancy transitions and all those nice songs, and hopefully that will land you an internship or even a job. So that's very interesting. Okay, so now that more companies, I would assume during the pandemic, they are struggling to find interns, and interns are also similarly finding it hard to find internships. So what are the benefits from like the employer side of going through, a third-party internship platform such as InternSpoon, as opposed to solely advertising on their own website or LinkedIn?
All right. So a lot of times, like, we get from employers that says that, internship is free. I can post anywhere for free. Facebook you can post for free and everything. However, let's be real. How many candidates are there to apply? And a lot of times, what we get is, how to say, it's a international candidates who wants to work in Malaysia, which don't understand the market, have not been into Malaysia and don't understand the market, so it's a bit more challenging. So for us, how we are different is we help you, we'll bring you different kind of talents. That is where we have seen students in, but just like back to the example, you're looking for content creators, you're looking for digital marketing candidates, or more towards social media marketing candidates. Like I said, university are transitioning. This is a new course, so maybe the students may or may have not graduated. So a lot of times it's also because we picked up ourselves, it's because of interest and everything. So sometimes where we don't stop you, because a lot of times you will have the conception that, oh, social media marketing or digital marketing, sure, marketing students will have lah, or business students will have. But the thing is, sometimes what we have seen is also in the resume and portfolio, we have seen very impressive portfolios as well, is coming from students out of marketing and also business. We have seen like psychology students that excel. I have a psychology student, still studying psychology student, who is very good in her design. So she's helping out part time with one of the company, supporting on the digital efforts, which you never expect that, because a lot of times whenever we talk about psychology students, or they are usually doing HR, or they are shrink, but then they are one of those that knows people the most. So I would say, give it a try if you have not tried it out. But and so we will be here to actually consult you. We will actually go through the job description and job scopes that you want on the candidates you want to hire, on the positions that you want to hire, and advise you further, how is it going to be like. So a lot of times, like, people will come and tell us, I want this, because what employers are always the very common mistakes that we get from employers is, you imagine the impossible. It's a very imaginary person that is here. Hiring person and hiring talent is not checking all the checkbox. That is really a robot. But it's more towards is whether this person, you see this person able to work with you or not.
Yep.
So for us, we will come and tell you, like, okay, why we are pushing you these candidates for you to explore is because we realize that you are looking at this kind of skill set, and these people have this kind of skill set, which something that you never thought of, that helps you to open up your opportunity and mindset to actually try out whether these people is workable or not for your organization.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. And you mentioned something about, matching skill sets between the employers and also the interns. Are there like any on-demand skills that these employers are asking for, or other companies should also, start looking if they are also screening resumes? What on-demand skills are there for interns? Yeah.
Okay, the on-demand skills that companies, for interns, I would say they are a little bit more chill. They don't, I mean, not too high expectation, but a lot of times, like what we have seen, very common ones that students must have at least equipped with Canva. It's a digital marketing tool, like it's a graphic design tool for dummy, but it's also something that they need them to at least have it. Microsoft Office tools, and also Google Suite, and also one thing that, and a few more skill sets that they are looking at into the technical side, like because now it's more towards the digital era. If you know how to code, something that employers also look at lah.
Okay. Those are very, like on-demand skill sets indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the employers that are your clients, do they give out additional assessments for these candidates? Like once you give them a candidate and they think they're good, are there additional assessments that these employers usually give?
They will go through their normal process. They will actually go through the normal process. But however, like for us, because we have been engaging with universities and students itself, so sometimes students will come to us. So if like for us, if we see certain students that when we evaluate, when they talk to us, we do see some potential of them working in your company, we will recommend to you. So most of the time, the interview time kind of cut into half. So usually those, from what we have seen, if students will reach out to us and we leave some notes to the employers, very fast these students will get hired very fast, because
Mm,
it's kind of like we kind of able to gauge, like, whether you will be able to accept this student.
mm.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So for employers, how soon should they, start posting for internship availability? So for example, if they want to hire for September session, when should they start promoting these internships that are available?
Okay, so one of the very major misconceptions that we have, it's if you want interns, is always available at any point of time. So I'm here to correct you that in university has set a rule. If the students doesn't have not been able to find their internship 1 month before their internship start dates, they cannot search for internship anymore. It means that they have to defer their internship. They have to defer their course and graduation. So for a good number of candidates, if you are hiring all year round, then you can just start um, every month. Just make sure your post is active. That's about it. But
Mm,
if you are seasonal hire, like you only hire at certain season, a good amount of candidates that, if you want a better selections, I would say 3 to 4 months ahead. Even some universities start as early as 6 months ahead. Even like for one of the universities that we are working right now, their students is starting the internship in January.
mm,
That's about 3 to 4 months ahead already. So by if I'm not mistaken, by October, if they don't get any internship secure, they cannot do their internship.
mm.
So yeah, a lot of times we get employers who come to tell us, I want interns to start immediately, like next month. um, I can tell you this is impossible unless the students internship got cancelled and last minute, they have to find another new internship. Then that is very rare. I would say less than 1%. So yeah, start early.
Yeah, so employers have to start early, but the people who are applying for these internships also have to start applying early, lah, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I think I also help screen resumes for interns for DGX. So sometimes we would get interns who are applying for September, and this was in January. They have already started planning like 8 months ahead, and I think that's also very good practice for future hirings also, that they apply earlier. I think if you apply earlier, also gives us more time to hire you, and then you get that role quicker than other people. Yeah.
Correct. I think it's also, if you're in the hiring scene, you are very well aware that hiring talents do take time.
Mm.
It's not like you snap finger then someone will appear. That's so yeah, so definitely it does take time. So start early.
Okay. So when you also help employers look for the right interns, do you also assess their culture fit? Like if they would fit the company's culture or personality traits?
Not to that extent.
Mm,
Not to the extent. So what we are what we are providing right now, because I can't say for sure for your company. I can't be
mm,
representing your company because I may misrepresent your company, which is something that I don't want it to happen. So what we do is we are mainly providing you the candidates that is related to the position that you're looking at. So from
mm,
there, instead of you are waiting passively for people to come and apply with you. Now we are the ones that supplying you this resume for your hiring.
mm. Okay, that's clear. All right. Okay, so I think we've covered quite a few like misconceptions already, and I see quite a lot of comments coming in. So why don't we move to the Q&A session from the audience? I'll give everyone a quick 5 seconds to type in your questions, and then we'll flash out the first question on the screen. Okay.
I think we have a
Okay.
couple of questions.
Yeah. All right. So the first one is from David Tan. Any good hiring platform for good quality interns you can recommend?
Wow, good quality. The word good quality is very subjective to everyone. It can be good quality to me, but it may not be good quality to you. So I would say that scrap that good quality part. Rather focus on good quality um, focus on the attitude and also the skill sets of the candidates. Yeah,
Mm.
I don't, because well, we get a lot of questions from employers all this time, like, I want good quality interns, but how do you determine good quality?
Yeah, yeah. Also, they're very new to the to work life. Also, you cannot have too high of an expectation that wow, they must be as good as a full timer with 1-2 years experience. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I think as like a good hiring platform, okay, number one, you can sign up with Intern Spoon. That's definitely if you're an
Yeah.
employer, and then we can help match you up.
Yeah,
I think, yeah, but other than that, I think just promoting it on LinkedIn also would be a good one.
I think
Yeah.
the other part that maybe one thing that both university and students and also public will be a bit aware of is the company's branding.
Mm.
So, like, how do you position yourself? So that is another way. Because university, whenever the students submit the internship application to the university, right, say that they are working with XYZ company, if it's not in the university's how to say employ uh employer list, university will have a employer list lah. So if it's not in that employer listing, they will do a due diligence on your company. So this is something that the university will do. So so make sure that you have like your social media page that is visible for them to actually check. So at least that gives you a comfort, and you don't face the rejection where the student wants to intern with you, then the university reject you, those kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. What are like some of the common reasons then the university might reject if there was any in your experience?
uh if they Okay, one thing that university, okay, back in physical one,
Mm.
physical one, when university will reject if the company is a home based company, meaning to
Ah,
say they don't have a proper office space, so that is important to them due to the
mm.
safety issue.
Yeah.
um the other thing is if they have bad records, or it has been blacklisted by the university, then yeah, then they won't. Yeah.
Like either the students complain about the company or how they are
Mm.
treating them, then confirm with blacklisted. Okay, got
Mm.
it. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Let's have the second question up on the screen. Places Media asks, how can you know if an applicant is a good fit for company when they have no work experience?
Wow, this is putting me on hot seat. I would say that I think it's also coming through the assessment and also the interview. Um, Maybe what you want to start to see is the quality pula, the skill sets that they have. So
Mm.
whether through the interview, once you have that interview ball rolling, right, you kind of be able to gauge. You cannot gauge 100%. Sometimes people can do very well interview, but then in real life it's not. But it's just a give and take. So once you get the ball rolling, you can try to ask questions that can relate to certain decisions. So for example, um, we always ask this question to students. Your job scope not only have to do what you have to do right now,
Mm.
but it requires you to do R&D, research and development, going out to do market research. Are you comfortable with that or not? So if they said like, oh, I'm not comfortable with that, this is not what I sign up for. It's not an occasion, it's not everyday thing that you need to, it's just an occasional thing, but they also reject you, then you know that this person will not be the ones that able to fit into the company, because whatever that is written in the job scope is just a guideline. I believe
Mm.
every one of us kind of know is a guideline, but sometimes it does requires you to do um, certain things out of your job scope, because it's somehow related, and also to maybe because of you are more reliable, so they pass you this task to do certain things.
Yeah.
So it will come through the questions. But one
Mm.
thing that we also practice is also we will look at the DISC profile. So all the candidates that we interview ourselves for our company, we do ask them to do this test,
Mm.
just to give us an overview how is this person like. But also it during the interview you may catch little details that can give you tips that whether you want to hire this person or not. So a simple rule of thumb, whenever we have a interview session, it's a known that you need to on your camera. You can't be telling the interviewer, say, oh, sorry, I cannot on my camera because I have my camera spoiled or broken. Then the next thing you know that this person is not prepared. If you know that you have an interview, if your camera spoil or what, then figure out something like use your phone as your camera.
Yeah, borrow from somebody, find a way. Yeah.
Correct. So from there you will know that this person doesn't have that problem solving skills.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. Great. I hope that answers your question. Places Media. Natasha Chang asks, whenever someone gets a rejection from an internship opportunity, do you think companies should start making it mandatory to give them a reason, or is it not necessary?
I would say you can try to ask. It's not wrong to ask. One thing is also because as a student, you want to know where do you go wrong. But to employer side, because a lot of time when we get what we get is we will tell them rejections. We just say that, oh, sorry, we found a better candidates. But very rare we get candidates who reply to say like, thank you for the opportunity. However, maybe you can give me some feedback. That can actually help to put a good impression to the employer's book, because it shows that you have done that effort. You really want to work. Maybe it's just timing not right. Maybe it's just this timing, internship timing is not right. But definitely it will not, if you are a candidate that the company is looking at, it will not stop them to look for you when there is new opportunity turns up. So I believe some of them here who is candidates who always look for jobs or, keep a lookout, right? You often get, email or newsletter from the employee agency or even from certain companies that you apply before. And they say like, oh, I have this new opportunity. If you're open, just deposit your information here, those kind of things. So I would not say that it should be a mandatory, because sometimes I do understand their schedule is very busy. However, if you have met I have met some HR who's very nice, like they will reply to you and say like, oh, we reject you because of what, when you ask. But majority of the time, they don't tell you one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for the ones, the employers or HR that actually do reply, that gives you free employer branding to that person also, because that person will have a better impression of you. Like, wow, they're so good. They told me, they gave me some feedback on what to improve. So in the future also, if they are, they gain a bit more experience and they find a role at your company, that will also encourage them to apply because of their good experience back when they were trying to applying, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, very good. Okay, so let's have the next question up. Ngu Chu Wai asks, how can employers structure their internship postings and interview sessions to better communicate their expectations of candidates? Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, so I think there's no, how to say, in recruiting talents, and there's no one way or one size fit all. There's no right SOP, like I need to follow this step, I'll definitely get this. Because sometimes these people can just come and knock to your door. So I will say that spread out, don't stop at one place, spread out your methods of internship posting. And I would say that use whatever platforms that you have to post. And then when it comes to interview, I think what employers now is also facing, that sometimes students do not turn up for the interview sessions and everything, right? So what we have done is actually not only on interns, candidates do happen sometimes as well. So what we are doing right now is also we will touch base with them on WhatsApp and give them the information to say like, this is the link for your easy fast connection. You just click on this link, then you'll come straight to the interview room, this kind of thing. So we do WhatsApp them as well. But at the same time, because for students who are doing internship, sometimes employer call them during office hour. They are not available because they are having classes. So what we also do is we also WhatsApp them. So sometimes you will see, I believe some of you have also seen all these funny WhatsApp replies from candidates. But that's the only way we can do right now.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's awesome. All right. Let's move on to the next question. How Iron Eleno 42, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. How can employers determine the job duties and responsibilities that are suitable for interns when structuring an internship program? Okay, so maybe I think before the intern joins or whenever they want to apply, they would see, like a JD of the
Yeah.
internship. Yeah, so is there like any tips, I guess, for employers to determine this JD and responsibilities? Yeah.
I think most of the employers will put it as a very general. So, for example, let's say I'm employing software programmer. So they will just say like, oh, I just need need you to know your basic skills. I need, for example, I need you to at least have JavaScript. If you don't have JavaScript, we won't look into your resume. As simple as that. But also, in the roles and responsibilities side, to put it very general, like assisting the team in doing certain tasks, carrying out certain tasks, but also includes like day-to-day operation. So it really depends on the how to say the company's drafting. There's no like right way to say like this way definitely can, because sometimes it also depends on the candidate. Like when it comes to hiring, it's always like a willing buyer, willing seller thing. Like, if I see this and I really like it, I will deposit my resume to you. But sometimes it's just I don't see eye to eye, that I don't deposit. Those kind of thing. It does happen. But I would say the tip is to keep it a little bit more general. However, we also have seen companies who interview candidates, interns, regardless interns or full time, because during the interview they realize that this candidate is more more suitable for certain role, so they would craft out another JD for him or her in the offer letter. That is possible as well. Yeah.
Okay. So then would the universities have a say on, like, if the companies provides like this JD for the students, does the university say like, oh no, I don't want my student to do this, or can the company change? Have you encountered any of those problems before?
So far, if for university side, if they will ask, like if something that is not sure of or unclear of, they will ask they will write into the employer, they will request to get connected with the employers lah. So when or sometimes if they don't see it, then they just tell the student, oh sorry, you cannot just choose this employer, those kind of things. So it really depends. Sometimes it also requires the employers to actually reach out to the university to find out like why, because sometimes it's just the supervisor who doesn't understand, or maybe sometimes it's just something that they need more information. So it's just an extra effort that you want to keep comfortable with. Of course, with Internspoon coming in, if it's someone from Internspoon side, we will definitely be able to create a connection for you. And usually whenever the employers have anything to ask, and whether to validate this company, right, they will ask. If it's Internspoon partners, then they will ask Internspoon first. So that is where we'll help you to build that bridge and connection that university are more comfortable with, and will reduce the chances of rejection.
Okay, awesome. All right, so that was actually like the perfect way to close off the Q&A session, and that was our last question. So that is all the time that we have today for the webinar. So thank you so much, Yinzi, for joining us and for giving us so much insights, especially from both the employer's point of view and the candidate, and also the university's point of view. Get 3 in 1 today, which is awesome. So if you have,
I covered enough.
yeah, I think it was a great session. So if anybody has any burning questions that we weren't able to address during the webinar, please feel free to email us at hello@althr.my, and I'll be happy to lead you back to Yinzi. So thank you very much again for watching. We hope everybody enjoyed this webinar. Tomorrow is Malaysia Day, so have a great break if you're on a public holiday from your work. Then stay safe, stay healthy, and see you soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you,
Thanks,
Yinzi.
Isa. Thanks, Justin, for monitoring at the back. Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you.